Hello and welcome to the Rant Shop. This is the How I See It edition. Uh, I listen to all kinds of crap on the internet, and pretty much I got 12 hours a day. Put one headphone on, I listen to something. I'm always listening to whatever, learning, learning BS, good information, bad information, all kinds of shit. Uh, Kind of seems like the news. I don't care which one you go to. And they kind of all have the same points. This points this way, that's bad, and then they have a different spin on it, and they just yell about each other, and that's their whole show. They don't really tell you anything. You don't get any facts or learn nothing, except that that whole thing is a swamp, like a man said before he tried to clean it out. And it's, can you clean it out? It'll just be a while down the road, and a new band of politician types will just do it again. Greed. Uh, so I was listening. People are talking about this whole, you know, tariff war with China. Now, back in the day, they used to bitch, we want to put the jobs, keep in America, then they're letting the Chinese take them. And exactly what happened, what they said, is eventually we're relying on them for everything. They took all our jobs. We might not be working harder, but they want all our jobs, and now it's to the point that if we don't get it back, at some point they're going to own the whole world and control it. And I don't want to live under their rules. So if a little tariff's going to make it cost me 25% more for things that are not made in this country, then I will. Let you know. Get a phone call right in the middle of my podcast. Should probably shut that off. Anyway, so we got to pay 25 more, and I know it's our money. Well, we were bitching that our companies took the jobs and sent it there, so we should not be bitching because it costs us more to make it here. But there's other countries that can make it that China don't. And if I had a business, that's what's called diversifying. You can't have all your apples in one spot. So all those companies that only get their product from China, we have vendors, more than one vendor. Each one costs a little more, but it's not going to be a 25% increase. You see what I'm saying? And it's like in this business that I've been in, I've been seeing, companies come and they'll be picking up, and they're dealing only with GM, and everybody knows GM pays in 90 days, and all their marbles servicing that. And then all of a sudden, when GM's cutting back and not buying anything, GM still ain't paid you. You can't pay 90 days worth of shit because you don't got any cash flow coming in anymore. And now everybody's hurting, so they're dropping their drawers for all the customers, so you just put yourself out of business. And why the companies didn't order a big fat fucking 6-month supply inventory. Most businesses do that when there's when a price increase is coming on shit you're gonna sell. You wouldn't oddball stuff. So if you run out of whatever, so you can't get a purple pair of shoelaces, got to pay 25% more and get it from China. Whatever it may be, a toy for your kid, or God forbid, the gaming companies, if they want a game, or either gamers are going to have to pay more, or somebody can make it here. How about we make it somewhere between what it was, what we want, and we can make it in the United States for somewhere in between that, and then we've created jobs and nobody's hungry, and now we've fixed this immigration problem. We still need the wall. We got to stop them just from coming in. We need to, when they come in, we don't give them insurance. Maybe we can be nice and check them out and get them healthy, but they shouldn't have to take the trip. And if they just come through the door, doing it in their own country is great. But regardless, if we don't have any jobs, then people can't come in. So then all us people who are so supportive and want to let all these immigrants in. We're going to work hard to keep our economy good so we can keep the door open for jobs. If there's no job, we can't bring it in. It has to be linked to a job. It has to be a reason for it to come. There has to be some contribution. And then we can leave it open. They can go back and forth. They can go back home, come back, get a paycheck, whatever they want. We leave it open. Once you fuck up, well, actually, when y'all come in, see, this is my plan that nobody would ever do, but I just thought of it. It was kind of fucking funny. I was just thinking of what we should do. Just, general if I had to make a movie. So you get an immigrant that's coming in. In order to come in, you give them those retina scans or the whatever scan that only identifies them. And then we have drones that fly up with all that information, and they'll have laser beams in it or some kind of particle destroyer, something cool somebody's going to invent. Because if I can get this, we're going to invent this incinerator. How you like that? That's what we're going to invent. So we let the illegal immigrant in with the job. As long as they're paying taxes, you have a way to make sure they can pay taxes. So they got to pay taxes just like we have to pay taxes. If they want to work for less, then, they should be able to. But they should still, I get the minimum wage, the minimum they could pay anybody. Immigrant, I get that. $10 an hour. And then we make a fine if anybody hires them, like, illegally. So now, this will be an illegal legal. In other words, they're not a citizen. They can't vote. They go back and forth to work. They can stay here while they're working as long as they're working. Minute they're not working, they have so much time unless medically and they're paying for it. We're not paying for it because we shouldn't be paying that, They haven't become a citizen. They have to do whatever we say to become a citizen. While they're doing that, they can get a citizen. But I think you should have to be here and pay taxes for 10 years before you can vote. Because you shouldn't have a say-so and be able to vote to give you more nothing. So you're working, and most people are hard working that want to come. Now that's not discriminating on anybody. If we don't have a job, they can't come in. If we have a job, they can come in. Now let's say they came in and got busted doing something. You automatically deport them. There's no second chance, second try. Not for a speeding ticket or if they're stealing or, you know what I mean? Drunk driving, whatever. I mean, they put us underneath the jail, but we don't need to put them in jail because putting them in the jail feeds the system, costs us more money. That's why we have all these people. You're feeding the system. It's like $58,000 for every one they take and drop off at some church. By the time it gets that the government pays out, that you pay out in taxes, everything's a scheme all around. There's no, and it's so many layers of scheme. It's like a building, and at the top is the government, and all that money bleeds down into these corrupt people, and we're somewhere like buried under the ground. We're the people who fund that pyramid. It's like the biggest pyramid's Fonzie scheme. Everything the government touches and puts regulation, there should just be there to help keep order, and that's just about it. So everybody has to work. I know that kind of stinks. I don't want to be discriminatory, but we don't want a bunch of 90-year-olds coming here and we have to take care of them. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I'm just saying there has to be somebody should have to sponsor them, bring them and pay for them. We'll be responsible. Again, if something happens, you both go. If we have no work and have less jobs than immigrants, then people on immigrants should have to go back to their country, paid by taxpayers. That's fine. They go back home. We don't need you. We'll let you know when we need a job. So then it motivates people who really care about all these people enough to make sure the economy's going good and everybody's not screwing everybody, so we can let these people in. See, so we got to keep making, everybody's got to be as great as they say they are. Not just that, just come on in. Who's going to pay for it? Well, the rich people. No. Taxpayers pay for it. No matter how you cut it, it's not rich people. The rich people pay all the fucking taxes. No matter how you slice it. Johnny Doo-Doo's out there that pays $3,000 in taxes. Oh yeah, I pay fucking the same type of money, pay $3,000, man. What the fuck? Come January, got my tax return, man. I got $6,500 back this year. Well, that to me, that's a negative tax. So somebody else has to pay your negative because you didn't pay anything. Well, they say like top 40% pay like 100% of the taxes. I mean, I got back. I think I paid in about $9,000. I got back $800. So I'm paying the taxes. But all you people that get those big $2,000 and $3,000 returns, you might be paying 0.5% of your share. And they're saying poor people should pay 2%. Poor people don't pay 2%. You can't include state tax. This is federal. Federal goes. It helps nothing in your state when you give, except the federal government gives states money. But indirectly, when you get a federal tax, none of that money I'm paying is for anything in my state. That's what my property taxes are. See, that's another $3,000 a year. You know, so that's another way. Poor people pay property tax. Well, I think they do. Maybe if they're on assistance, they don't. But it doesn't matter anyway because it's just government money, which is tax money. Paying for the taxes makes no sense. Whatever. So anyway, so if these illegal immigrants get get caught, busted, we deport them. As soon as they're deported, because we did that retina scan, we're now going to have these like drones flying over the thing with these incinerators, right? So if they even come within 50 feet of the wall, they get incinerated and they become dust in the wind. You know what I'm saying? No, that's just a joke. But that would quit it. That's a deterrent. You know, they want a deterrent. We can let them in if we have jobs. If we don't have jobs, they go back home. If we have jobs, they come in. Tariffs in China. If we do everything here, we're going to create jobs. So we need some lower, paid workers. We need those $9.25 an hour workers. These people be more than happy to work for $9.25 an hour. No American's happy to work $9.25 an hour. We all think we need more minimum. But you have a job. This job pays $9 an hour. Because if the job paid $40 an hour, you'd be bitching. That's why we have fucking tariffs. That's why we're having this tariff war. Because it's so cheap to do over here because you won't fucking do it. All right. So yeah, we can have all the immigrants. We can keep the economy going. So as long as you keep Trump, he's pro-immigrant no matter how you look at it. Because we need people to work. We don't need people to support. And I know that the welfare system isn't the biggest part of the deficit. A third of it, was it 1/4 is Social Security. The other quarter of the deficit is health care. So if we cut the deficit by 10% over 5 years, never increase spending, we would actually eventually be able to pay for Social Security in that as long as we kept growing as Americans. We keep growing America, so we don't have to tax anymore. We don't have to do anything. If you have more taxpayers, the tax pool gets bigger. So the more jobs you create in your own country, the more tax. This tax that we're paying in for more is our government to help pay the fucking debt down anyway. So if we do this in about 50 or 100 years and never grow our spending anymore, we could eventually do it after about 5 or 6 years. But our economy was so much bigger. But right now, the deficit is so much bigger, and it's way bigger than you think it is. It ain't 20 trillion. Unfunded liabilities, which is long-term the length of what we promised for like Social Security and your Medicaid. You paid every week in your check. We're all paying. They're promising us if we pay that we're going to be paid. So we're 120 trillion. The estimate's between 80 and 200. So I'm just saying 120 trillion. Let's just say 80 then. Our current deficit is 20. So that's 100 trillion. Then states and local states and all that are all 3 to 5 trillion, I think, combined. So you're still looking at about 125 trillion. You know what the interest payment is on that? The 2%. It'd be close to $3 trillion a year just on the interest. So we're just servicing the debt. We got to get our pool bigger so we're paying off the debt. We're just servicing. Our whole economy, what we take in, barely pays the interest for the debt. That's why the deficit keeps getting bigger, because we borrow more money. And we're running out of place to borrow money from. So when they quit that, they start printing money. And when they print money, that's called inflation. So then they'd have to, your dollar's worth less. So you just got to pay decrease. Why you think cars cost $30,000 and they used to cost $3,500? Because they used to make $2 an hour, and now we get 10 as minimum wage. $2 an hour is a good salary back there. Whatever, whatever them GM workers were making. $2,000 didn't sound like a lot, but they were bringing home $200 a week, which was a lot of money, or whatever they were bringing. But it's not the same as now. It's like everything costs $500. So you should be able to buy a car for that. It's inflation, the dollar. Wages are increasing, prices increase. Just a whole big game. Anyway, that's how I see it.